Welcome to writingalong.com. Today's episode is all about stopping your obsession with reading and just write already. This isn't for everyone. It definitely isn't, because books are pretty great. You know, they definitely serve a purpose throughout different parts of your life. You may have a book you really like at a certain age, a certain time and era, all that stuff, and then eventually, look back on it, it doesn't quite have the same effect that it used to have. And here's the thing, though. Eventually, you get to a point where, as a writer, it kind of feels like all books reach that point, and you might just be rereading them or picking them up, and it's just not the same. It doesn't mean you don't like them anymore, or the author doesn't resonate with you anymore, or you don't respect or admire them. Some cases that might be it, but for the most part, it's just reading is less interesting to you, and you wonder, like, oh, is this joy that once previously brought life and this wonder to my own life just kind of disappearing? Like, what's going on? Is this, you almost kind of mourn the experience? Like, I don't enjoy books anymore. I used to enjoy reading, and it's kind of going away. What's happening? It's really confusing. And as a writer, if you already feel that kind of calling within you, that it's you can't deny it. You want to write. And if you're feeling that at the same time as your enthusiasm for books is kind of declining, they're closely related. Your mind is actually telling you it's time to put the books down for a bit. You've read all you need to read right now. Pick up a pencil, pick up a pen, start typing away. It's time to start writing. Your love for reading is, if you really want to get to it, a love for words, a love for the harmony of them, putting them together. And it's just a continuation. It's not a complete severance of what reading once meant to you. If anything, it's actually very, very closely related. It's like a relative, if we're really getting deep into that kind of aspect and interconnectedness between them, the two things, reading and writing. Follow that path. Let it take you where it is trying to guide you toward. Listen a bit and just quiet your mind. Shut your mind off a bit. If you're a reader, you already know how to do that. You really do. There's a lot of people who cannot, for the life of them, sit down and read a book. Maybe they just don't enjoy it, or maybe they shut their minds off in another way. But everyone, every once in a while, needs to kind of quiet everything that's going on. There's a lot of noise around you. There's a lot that's just trying to catch your attention. It wants you to look this way, it wants you to look that way, it wants to listen to this, listen to that. And not all of it is really getting you anywhere. It's just kind of polluting the air with noise. And silence is kind of like a luxury. Anything that guides you in a real direction is really becomes more idealistic. It just kind of feels like a dream. You'd love that, wouldn't you, if it could something that takes you somewhere that you need to be. And when you're just crowded with all this stuff, you're reading, and it becomes more noise. It stops being an avenue for you to silence your mind and find a place of peace, find a place where you can hear the voice inside of you, your own inner voice, your own inner identity speaking to you. You don't find your connection with that through reading anymore. You're not revealed the beauty that you once were, or these ideas about yourself, and the self-understanding is just, where did it go? You miss it. Books were so great. They were, if you were on your own, just alone somewhere, you pick up a good book, and that's all you needed. Just the writer who understood you. You understood them, whether they're alive or they're from the past. And I really want to dedicate a large part of the beginning of this just to that phase, that feeling, because it kind of sucks. It's not fun at first, especially, again, if you don't know why it's happening. But if you're feeling the writing within you too, connect the dots for yourself in your own head. When did this happen? Probably recently, or so gradually you didn't notice, but really it's kind of recent. Books just aren't the same. Pick up your favorite book, and you'll never have that first impression feeling again. You can still experience that, though. That experience isn't lost to you. It's not gone into the void of existence, and you can never know it again. Actually, when you write, it's the same thing. It's the exact same feeling that you knew, that's familiar, that awe-inspiring, just kind of a fluid, amazing, mind bending, mind blowing experience that you have when your mind and your thoughts and your imagination is taken on a trip. It doesn't have to be taken to this wonderland. It could just be taken down the street of a city. It could just be someone's day, someone's life. A lot of really profound, well, books that profoundly impact people aren't necessarily always this wondrous, illustrious, lavish fantasy land. Like sometimes it is, and even if it is, it doesn't mean it's like the equivalent of just sparkling. And there's some underside to it, and there's always this kind of there's always in the context some kind of non-glamorous side that is present there too, and it doesn't matter because it's just being there that you like to see. You like to, your mind is taken to that place. You want to get there again. Writing takes you there. It's not gone, and I really would suggest that you pick up where you left off. What did you like? What did you admire? What were those places that you were taken through books? It's time to start creating that yourself, creating those for other people. You're no longer just passively receiving it. I mean, it wasn't always passive. You were engaging with it, right? And that's kind of what happens with writing too, because when words start coming to you, when you're really feeling writing, and it's imbuing itself through you, it is kind of passive. You are kind of sitting back and letting it happen. Writers already currently, you know what I'm talking about. The words are coming to you, and it's not like, oh, I have to think of this word. The next word after this word. What a drag! This sucks. Another word after this word. How many words do I need for this sentence? It's not like that. It shouldn't be like that. Or otherwise, what the hell are you doing? It's actually just kind of sitting back and whatever, getting the words out. They're just kind of being fed to you through your senses, and whatever senses that you do have. Maybe you have all of the ones that are commonly had: touch, sight, hearing. Maybe you have all of them. Maybe you only have a couple. Humans are very, very varied. Value the ones that you do have, especially if you have them all. Value that too. And realize that writing isn't really, it's not coming from any of those. It's communicated through them. If you're typing something, you're writing something with your hand on a pencil, on a page, it's your hands, right? Or if you're just dictating it to your phone or some kind of recording device for someone to transcribe, it's your voice, your vocal cords. But the words, where are they coming from? Where are they coming from? It's not a teleprompter someone's beaming up to you to read from. You're not reading these symbols on a wall, right? That you're just feeling, and you're translating them. It's not like that. It's something kind of extra perception. It's outside, but it's not out there. It's not this side that you gotta, well, I can't see it, but I just have to believe in it. No, you do see it, but you see it in your mind. All these words are flowing to you. It's a waterfall. It's spring water. It's a well that never dries. And you're consuming it. And as you're consuming it, you're making it into words that other people can read, that you can read after. And that process it's indescribable. If anything, I find writing even more joyous than reading nowadays. I don't read as much as I used to. Not even close. Doesn't mean I don't like or I look down on those years at all. If anything, I look back and with joy too. I'm so grateful for some of the writers that I found when I found them. I'm certainly grateful for them. And all of them I can't ever talk or meet to because they're long gone from this earth, but in a sense they were alive. And that's what you're doing. You're making yourself alive. You're making yourself present as a writer. For people, you're having these conversations. You're guiding people through places, through otherwise dense, unnavigatable. That's got to be a word, right? Unnavigatable. Someone give me a synonym for that. And you are paving something. But again, it doesn't feel like work. It's kind of like again, pseudo-passive sort of thing is reading. It's just coming in. And you're actually witnessing it happen too. Yeah, your hand is moving on the page, your fingers are typing on the keyboard, or whatever, right? But where's it coming from? And then you kind of find these places that your mind is in, and you get to kind of look around. You're like, oh, I'm in this corner, I'm in this place, I'm in this environment, and it's like being in the front row seat of a book, like even closer. What a book brought you to, writing is like being even closer. So close, it's almost, it's dangerous. It's almost like scary, but like in the best way. It's exciting. And writing is not for the faint of heart in that sense, because it all I can say is sometimes when you really get into it, it's almost as if madness is right in front of you. You can just reach and touch it. And you don't have to do that. You don't have to descend into it. But seeing it is a sight to behold. It really is. Some people do, and they fall into it. And it's a tragic end. A lot of writers have found themselves. Not all of them. Not all, like, don't fear that it's going to happen. Don't let that be an excuse for you. You know that's not going to happen. Don't give yourself more excuses not to start, because that's another thing that happens. You, especially as a writer right now, or reader right now, if you are right now. Not mutually exclusive, but again, what era you are in your life, it is a difference. There's a point where you're writing, there's a point where you're kind of drowning in other people's words and other people's worlds, another part where you're drowning in your own. And it's intense. That's why I use the word drowning, because what does it imply when you say someone drowned? They're gone. I heard that one time, and someone said, I don't know why I still remember it. There must be a reason, right? I'm telling it to you now. You don't say, I drowned. That means you died. It means you're not here anymore. You can say you're drowning in the process of it, but it doesn't mean that you writing, doesn't mean you wrote. You see what I mean? You're in that extremity, but you're not physically endangering yourself. You're just mentally exciting yourself. There's so many exciting films to watch, so many exciting books to read. To some people, I mean, especially the generation that's not really exposed to books, or not even just generation, just anybody, if you're not really, that's kind of an oxymoron, an exciting book. What? Same thing with this. Writing can be this invigorating. Like, what do you mean writing can look like this and feel like this? What are you talking about? Exactly, because you're not really taught that it's like that. Because I think writing can be more exciting than any thing you can intoxicate yourself with, than any drug you could find. It's something a little, it's crazy. And that's why I think it's not exactly always shared what it can be, because not many people go there. Not many people even want to share what it is, because it's almost too much sometimes to communicate. I want to share this with you because writing is boring the way it's taught most of the time. And I thought it was like that for the longest time. And when I discovered what it could be, after growing tired of reading books and not hating books, not even close to that, but just it's not the same. And turning to writing, no one ever told me it was like that. No one ever told me that's what it felt like, that's what it could be, that's what it was and continue to be. And I want to communicate that for you too, so that you can see that for yourself. If you're a reader right now and books just aren't in anymore, I wish they were, but it's just not the same. Take up writing. You're not going to regret it at all. Not even a little bit. Check out on my website, writingalong.com, how to write a book in 30 days. Not just this little, do this, do that, and then you'll have a book. No, like what you mentally need to actually get the book, to actually see it in front of you, completed and finished. You can send it straight to your inbox, preferably, rather than just a post that you never read, right? You open it up, it's just in your 200 tabs that you never close. You think I'm calling out you, but I'm calling out myself. Maybe you can't relate with that. I'll see you on the next episode, and thank you for tuning in. Readers of the world, sometimes books do reach that point where it's not the same. Take up writing, and it is the next step. Thanks again for tuning in.